But elsewhere in Calgary, some businesses will never reopen. Their last day of business was the day before the flood. Until now, NHL players haven't had endorsement deals to wear grass skates, but that's a strategy that may change. In a letter to the Prime Minister, a Somali leader says some Albertans as young as 15 have already gone to join the terrorists. Good afternoon. A sad outcome after yet another wild animal wandered into the city. It was the Great Depression. People were leaving in search of opportunity. Here in Holdenville, the Pickens were relatively lucky. They had jobs, but times were tight. It was an environment that fostered resilience and taught the value of a dollar. Good afternoon. It's the site of an old gas station where fuel leaked into the neighborhood, endangering residents. Now the owner of the station in Bowness has a new plan for the site: build another gas station. And that's even before the cleanup of the first leak is complete. Leah Williams-Doherty is at the Bowness Community Association tonight. So Leah, what's happening right there?
Well, Ian, at 7 o'clock, it's going to be just a regular meeting of the Community Association.
All right, thanks very much, Leah. A dive crew has pulled the body of a man who drowned in Sukhumi Lake out of the water. Search crews used sonar to find the body of 29-year-old Ali Sheikh. Divers and a rescue boat helped get him to shore, where his family identified him. Calgary police have new training rules to deal with the mentally ill after an officer shot and killed a man in 2008. That's one of the recommendations in a fatality inquiry report released today. Arson investigators are probing a rash of fires this morning in the southeast community of Ogden. Crews were called just after 4 a.m. to a back alley in the 7600 block of Ogden Road. The Alberta Federation of Labor has been fined $50,000 for making unwanted robocalls. The AFL represents 160,000 working Albertans. A disturbing discovery for a man who spent months tracking Canadian tweets. Irfan Chaudhry was surprised to see how many Canadians were tweeting racial slurs. As the world continues to mourn the death of Robin Williams, a special screening of Mrs. Doubtfire last night in Vancouver. It was an emotional night in Stanley Park. Hundreds of people attended the screening. Organizers were supposed to show Ghostbusters. Of all the activities you might associate with summer camp, pushing a shopping cart likely isn't one of them. But that's what the campers with the YMCA's Kids in Motion Day Camp are doing. Helicopters are starting to land on a remote mountain in Iraq as part of a humanitarian mission. The U.S. Marines and Special Forces are there to rescue the Yazidi people, an ethnic minority under attack by Islamic militants. Karen Travers reports.
A new U.S. military team is now in northern Iraq.
Police outside St. Louis have shot another man not far from the fatal shooting of an 18-year-old on Saturday night. However, police say the 19-year-old shot last night was with a group of men carrying shotguns. He's in critical condition.
We are Michael Brown! We are Michael Brown! We are!
Protesters marched through the streets of Ferguson again last night, watched closely by riot police. Cross Iron Mills plans an expansion. More in tonight's Business Minute. The shopping center north of Calgary plans to relocate its food court, creating space for 9 more retailers. Everyone does it. Go ahead and admit it. But this week, police are ready. Here's Tara Nelson with a look ahead to CTV News at 6.
Well, Ian, the sidewalk on 5th Street Southwest is closed for construction.
Thanks, Tara. Another hot day all the way across southern Alberta. Right now, it's partly cloudy and 28 degrees. Still ahead, David outlines a slight cooling trend and even some showers. And it was great weather on the West Coast for road hockey. How the participants set a new world record. David, the hot spot in all of Canada was in Alberta today.
A place called Etsicom. Ever been to Etsicom?
No.
No, neither have I.
Is it nice?
I don't know.
Oh.
I have no idea. I've never been there. It's a little hamlet in the southeastern part of the province.
Thanks, David. A couple cases of heat stroke, a few twisted ankles, and the iron will of a bunch of kids in Nanaimo. Those are the ingredients for a new Guinness World Record. A group called Youth Sticking Together lived up to their name, breaking the record for the longest outdoor hockey game. And I bet they're ready for a break after that.
Yeah, good on them.
Good
That's
for
awesome.
them.
Yeah.
We have some very impressive golfers about to tee it up in Calgary.
Boy, I'll tell you, that field is looking mighty, mighty good.
Some thought it was a hoax. Others assumed it was a seagull. But it turns out there really is an ancient sign of very good luck in Nova Scotia. Ron Shaw went looking for it and with a little help found the legend of the albino crow is quite real.
The Nicholsons didn't know what to think when they first saw this.
I think it's a Portuguese wine with some Spanish characteristics. He used a lot of American oak.
Jeff Last loves his job. And finally, the manager of Bin 905 is running his store full time.
Yeah, Portugal has so many indigenous varietals.
He and his staff are sampling wine again, almost a year after the flood wiped out the store.
It looked like the hull of the Titanic or something. You know, water just dripping everywhere. Things had floated around the entire store. There were bottles sitting sort of upside down, kind of like that, on the floor. Things had migrated out of the office area and just drifted through the whole store. It was really quite surreal.
The damage was over $1 million, including $250,000 in inventory. Among them, items that couldn't be replaced.
Very rare wines like Screaming Eagle from California. You know, we got 3 bottles of that a year. It's $2,500 a bottle. You know, there are a lot of things like that.
Now the store is completely renovated and fully stocked. One by one, businesses along 4th Street Southwest have reopened over the past year. That's created plenty of work for construction and renovation companies. But elsewhere in Calgary, some businesses will never reopen. Their last day of business was the day before the flood. At the Lion's Den restaurant, time stands still at 6 a.m., the moment the power went out when the floodwaters rose.
What else are you going to do? You're going to keep on crying. It happened, and you got to just find a way to laugh.
Rico Festa's long-running family business was wiped out. Everything from the basement to the main floor destroyed.
So when we came in, the water was still at this elevation.
The damage added up to $1.2 million, and Festa hopes to recover less than half from his insurance company.
Well, I know right now I feel like I'm being stabbed because my heart's not in it. If it was up to me, I'd just keep on going until I croak.
Festa is now restoring the restaurant. New equipment and fixtures for a new owner. It is up for sale. It's an arduous process. But while one businessman is looking ahead to selling his business, another is planning a grand reopening.
We're lucky. We live in a city with a lot of resources, financial resources and workforce resources. But you can it does give you an idea of how difficult it would be in a third world country.
This is how Boone Pickens begins his day, almost every day. It's an exercise regime that would exhaust younger men.
Well, I warmed up on 25s on those curls, and then I went to 30s. I did the squats on the ball with a 65-pound vest. You know, I'm starting to think now that instead of that weight being 65, it's 165.
The trend has gone viral with athletes and other celebrities dousing themselves and challenging others to do it.
And last night I was challenged and I had no hesitation. Well, maybe some hesitation. Here's how things played out this morning. Look at this bucket of ice. Nice and cold. And I accept the ice bucket challenge for ALS. As a matter of fact, my sister-in-law, Ann Spellacy, has ALS. And she can't do things like pour buckets over her head. So I'll do it on her behalf. But I'm challenging 3 other people to do this. Naheed Nenshi, Lisa LaFlamme, and my nephew, Keegan Brooks. So here we go. Okay, your turn. Go for it.
Need a minute to catch your breath on that one?
Ooh. The funny thing about that is with gravity, once it begins, you can't stop it. There's just no way to stop
Turning
it. It was refreshing. Let's put it that way.
Awesome.
Well, people who refuse the Ice Bucket Challenge are asked to donate to ALS, and a lot of people are actually doing both. Check out the ALS Society of Alberta at alsab.ca.
And of course, even if you're not challenged, you can still feel free to go and donate.